None other than former
Have you
TNA
learned
Impact.
nothing yet? You're talking about the IWGP World Champion. You should be talking about the Viking, the Saltwater Savage Andrew Hawks, not some guy from some other place, some damn mainlander. You should be talking about a real man, a Viking. Do your stupid interview.
Whew. Thank God I'm wearing a bow tie and not a tie. I might have went over the deck, walked the plank, because you don't mess with the Vikings.
Andre Corbiel.
That's right.
This is Petey Williams' definition of Maple Leaf Muscle, and I need you to subscribe to Andre Corbiel on YouTube.
We got the hardcore legend, an icon in this industry, none other than Mick Foley.
DDP better put some damn clothes on or I'll whoop his ass. And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
AKA formerly Brodus Clay the Funkasaurus, and you do know that.
See you at the matches.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to OneWrestling.com. My name's Andre Corbiel, your official TNA Impact Wrestling reporter for the legendary icon Bill Apter, coming at you with your May 8th, 2015, late but great TNA Impact One Wrestling report. And the reason why it's late, I might as well touch base on it right now and apologize to each and every one of you that came to the site, OneWrestling.com, or right here on One Wrestling Video on YouTube, looking for the report to catch up, and you didn't find it. So I'm sorry, wrestling fans. I was on the road with RCW, the wrestling company that I work for, doing in-ring announcing and play-by-play color commentary, so to speak, and hanging with Kenny Omega, the cleaner, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion of the world. So it was a real hectic weekend, a busy weekend, but ultimately a worth it and fun weekend. So I apologize, guys, for it being late, but here it is, Andre Corbiel with your TNA Impact May 8th report. As we started off the show, a live edition of Impact Wrestling with Eric Young in the ring ranting about being the number one contender for the past 5 weeks, not having that clear-cut shot, but that it didn't matter and he'd become the champion one way or another, and at the end of the day, he'd beat Kurt Angle again, saying he doesn't care who this former TNA World Champion is, refereeing tonight, who turned out to be the two-time TNA Champion, none other than Bully Ray, returning to TNA Impact Wrestling with his well-known hook, "Do you know who I am? I'm Bully Ray, and I'm the special guest referee for this match tonight." A great opener, fans, and pardon that sad, poor excuse, attempt of a Bully Ray impersonation. It was awful, but I digress. So Bully Ray's back in TNA, and so is someone else, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I'll touch base on that after. We then rolled into EC3 in the ring, basically touching on his EC3 for Champ campaign and how the democratic process will ultimately prevail at the end of the day for him. As fans went to ImpactWrestling.com to vote for the stipulations within this match, which were two stipulations, an arm wrestling match or a false count anywhere match. And I didn't think anybody wanted to see an arm wrestling match, but 15% of the people of the viewing audience actually voted for it, so I was surprised about that. So ultimately, 85% for the false count anywhere match, and that's what we got as a result of the voting from ImpactWrestling.com. And a match that had tons of interference from Tyrus, who ultimately just signed with Global Force Wrestling, along with Jamin Olivencia and a list of other well-known stars for Jeff Jarrett's promotion. So at the end of the day, wrestling fans, you know that I'm friends with both men, Jamin Olivencia and George, a.k.a. Tyrus, a.k.a. Monstrous BC. We'll see what he's called in Global Force Wrestling. So congratulations. I look forward to seeing what my friends will do in Global Force Wrestling. But this isn't a GFW video, this is a TNA Impact Wrestling video, so I'm going to digress on that and move on to this match. A match that raged all around the ringside area and even on the rampway, and it was pretty even ultimately until a forward Samoan flip from Anderson on a pile of stacked chairs gave Kenny the ultimate driver's seat here. But like I said, when you factor in the interference from Tyrus, Anderson didn't stand a chance at the end of the day, and Ethan's undefeated streak stretches on, continues to 554 days. Impressive, fans. So he's gotta have a shot pretty soon at Kurt Angle or whomever the TNA Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion is, when he indeed earns that shot. We then had Kurt Angle, the current and reigning Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, backstage, one-on-one with Bully Ray, asking him if he'd ultimately call it down the middle tonight, and all Bully said was, "Do you know who I am?" Anyway, we then had the Bond that I never thought I'd ever see in Impact Wrestling, as Awesome Kong and Gail Kim were backstage preparing for their match against the Dollhouse later tonight. And the rivals actually seemed 100% on the same page, and I'm sure a lot of you were asking many questions rolling into this, but I'm going to save that for when I highlight and touch base on that particular match. As we roll into the BDC, who let the fans know that Homicide was blindsided and required surgery, which was nice for credibility on our Can-Am Wrestling show, because if you watched our double episodes back-to-back 2 weeks in a row with Supermech Shaun Hernandez, Lucha Underground superstar, and former Impact Wrestling superstar, where he told us on one of the 2 episodes that Homicide had indeed been injured at that point in time back then. So I'm going to digress. Now, many may ask if the N-bomb dropped by MVP was, at the end of the day, encouraged under the direction of Billy Corgan. I want to hear your opinions on it, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I'm going to let you guys know what I think right now, because either way, it was brilliant, and a sign that TNA is ultimately going to be pushing the boundaries more and more often as they tweak and sand down this new identity that they're striving for. And just like Corgan stated he was going to do, push the boundaries. As this one segment, it created a lot of attention on the internet, social media, with fans that were either offended or pumped up by this statement, this gutsy promo from MVP. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is classic wrestling 101, toying with the emotions of fans, capitalizing on relevant things. And if you look at Maryland, Baltimore, and all of the relevance pertaining or relating to the word thug being used in another manner, it makes sense, and I think it was good that TNA touched base on this. Now, my defense is, if rappers and music can use it and not be ridiculed or even judged for that matter, brushed off like nothing, then why can't MVP? He's an African-American male. So that's my reason. I thought this was good. I'm going to digress. Like I said, it was Wrestling 101 and pretty smart. Like I said, let me know if you guys think this was encouraged from Billy Corgan. As we had the Rising versus the BDC in a pretty good match that ultimately, if you break down the parts, it was designed to keep this feud going for a little bit longer, with Galloway taking the beating like a true face does, refusing to go down for the count, and ultimately fighting back and getting the 1-2-3 win with a future shock DDT on MVP that brought out EY, who arrived coming out of nowhere using a chair on Galloway, helping the BDC get out of trouble at the time being. And it looked like EY told MVP, "You owe me." Now, owing him, did this have anything to do with the main event at the end of the night? I'm going to digress and hold off till we touch base on that. We then had the Cowboy James Storm hit the ring with a huge gift in his hands, calling out his friend Mickie James, where he buttered her up, ultimately giving her a custom-made guitar as he and her posed for selfies in the ring. Now, You knew that this was set up to get under Magnus's skin, get under his nerves, and that's exactly what happened as Magnus came out to put a stop to this fiasco. But the Cowboy, he continued on, delivering a really, really funny, a nice subtle rib at Magnus, carrying his Trojan helmet that he used to wear a long time back when Magnus was a rookie. And it was strange to see because Mickie actually found that funny, and it reminded me to remind you viewers tuning in that Andre Corbeil predicted it months ago, and we can go back to the UK tour when I made the prediction that Mickie James would eventually be the female representative for the Revolution, as this segment pushes Magnus over the edge, wrestling fans, resulting in Magnus smashing that guitar, indeed, over the head of the Cowboy James Storm before taking and whisking his wife away. Now, backstage, the argument subtly started to begin as Mickie James, she asked her hubby, why can't I choose my friends, the ones that I want? Why can't I have the friends that I want to choose? But Magnus firmly stated that that wasn't the case. He just doesn't trust Storm at the end of the day. So it only solidifies my prediction, even more so, with Mickie James becoming a member of the Revolution and the Revolution having a female member representative. So this could be extremely, extremely compelling and entertaining of a storyline. So I'm really, really interested to see where it goes from here. We then had the continuation of the EY MVP situation or saga, as MVP asked EY, what do you have in mind, dude? What's exactly, what do you owe, kind of thing, basically. What do you owe? Anyway, I'm going to digress on that. EY planted the seed in MVP and the BDC's head of the title returning to the clan. Now, Kenny King said, I thought we were done with this fool, but you could clearly see that the seed had been planted in the leader of the Beatdown clan's head, MVP. And with Homicide MIA out of the picture, the power in numbers is a good thing. And why not bring the gold back to the BDC, even if it wasn't one of the 3 current members of the 4. Now, we know that Eric Young has been affiliated with the Beatdown clan from the inception of the clan, so it's not like this doesn't make sense. So I liked it. We then rolled into Taryn Terrell crashing Robert Irvine's Experience, the touring show that he has all across America, ultimately buttering up and doing selfie poses with Robert's daughter on the side of the event. Now, Gail Kim was being interviewed by Jeremy Borash during this, and you could see that this was clearly pissing Gail off, honestly, to a level I've rarely seen. And this is a face Gail Kim right now, so the fire in the pit of Gail Kim's stomach is indeed burning towards former best friend Taryn Terrell. As we pan into the dollhouses, Marti Belle and Jade, accompanied by Taryn Terrell, versus Awesome Kong and Gail Kim. And I'm sure many of you guys tuning in asked yourselves if Gail Kim and Awesome Kong indeed could or would coexist together. But honestly, I had no doubt that they would, and that's just the way I saw it coming in. So don't be afraid to share your opinions and let me know if you doubted the camaraderie of the 2 biggest rivals in the history of the Knockouts division, in all honesty. Now, during this match, the Dollhouse fared better than I thought, with the 2 new Knockouts getting in their spots here. Now, you had to wonder if they would have fared so well without the interference of the TNA Knockouts champion, Taryn Terrell, who ultimately was responsible for the Dollhouse getting the win here after Taryn jumped in the ring and picked up the 1-2-3 win. And I was like, say what? I was like, huh? That didn't make any sense at all. But I'll digress and just ask you guys if it made any sense to you as well. Not taken away from the match, because the match was totally decent, with Kong and Gail post-match hitting their finishers to ultimately save face within the hands of defeat. We then had Matt Hardy coming out, updating the condition of his brother Jeff, and telling the fans and JB that it's time to go home, relinquishing those titles. Now, he says he has to figure things out after relinquishing the titles, and I think that titles are cursed. It just seems that way. Comment below. Let me know if you guys think the titles are cursed too, as he opts to ultimately wait for the return of his brother Jeff before attempting to chase the TNA Tag Team Championships once again. But he's stopped on his way out of the building by Drew Galloway, who encourages him to stay and fight, not to go home. But on the flip side, it looks like, relating to the tag team division, that the Wolves and the Dirty Heels will be positioned into this vacant title picture. And it should be interesting, as all four ended up facing each other in the ring respectfully. And I'm going to point out and add that I like the music meshed theme of the two entrance themes from Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, with off-the-chain lyrics dubbed over Aries' instrumental theme. I wonder if that was Billy's influence as well. Did you guys notice that? Comment below and let me know. But back to this, as the Wolves and the Dirty Heels cut a promo highlighting the importance of the titles as Eddie Edward returns, wrestling fans. So it was good to see him back, and the way they did this was nice, showing that there's still relevance to the TNA tag team scene and those titles, and I just thought it was nicely done. And the fans will ultimately be treated to a best out of 5 series for the gold between these two ultimately talented tag teams. Hell yeah. We then had the return of Velvet Sky. She had a different look here, and didn't say a word at the end of the day, as she crashes an Angelina Love promo with a stone cold face throughout this whole segment that stayed that way. Anyway, Angelina bragged and boasted, and you know how it is with the ego and the attitude, and that she was nothing without her, and blah 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 blah. But ultimately, it was Velvet's silence and that stone face that caused Angelina Love to freak out, to tantrum, all before a spear from Velvet that laid her former teammate, former Beautiful People member out. And yeah, she wasn't done there. She choked her out as well with her hair. Now, I'm sure tons of fans were happy to see the return of Velvet Sky, because in the Impact Zone, this was indeed the loudest chant of the night, as the fans, it seemed like every fan in the Impact Zone here, chanted, "Let them fight, let them fight." Now, wrestling fans, it's time for our main event of the evening, as the Maniac Eric Young challenged for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and he and Angle indeed brought it here. Now, I truly think Eric Young is one of the most underrated stars out there, period, by casual wrestling fans that sleep on his ability, an ability that's indeed top A grade, as these two, they really teared into each other and teared each other apart. Just like I expected, Bully called this right down the middle, with Eric Young hanging with Kurt very easily here, every step of the way throughout this match, and ultimately taking it to him for much of this fight, as the BDC eventually came down ringside, and this is where Kurt Angle really turned up the heat, really turned up the offense. Now, a low blow from EY on Bully led to the BDC's opening to get in, or drag Kurt Angle out, and start beating Kurt Angle up. Now, Chris Melendez was first to come out and interject and try and save the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and then shortly after that, the Rising came down to put a stop to this. Now, ultimately, this allowed Angle to ultimately put Eric Young away via tap out. It wasn't very smart for Eric to do those actions towards Bully Ray, and he pretty much screwed his chance here. But this one, at the end of the day, was very close, wrestling fans. Very close. Now, your current and reigning, defending TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Kurt Angle, retains here. This was a really entertaining show, wrestling fans. I enjoyed it. Again, I apologize for it being so late, and there's going to be lots of TNA news right here on OneWrestling.com coming in the week, because there's lots going on in the world of total non-stop action wrestling. My name's Andre Corbeil, your official OneWrestling.com Impact Wrestling reporter, right here at the home of the legendary icon, saying, go check out the Kenny Omega interview right here on OneWrestling.com, and check out all of the matches from the weekend, including the Kenny Omega matches and the Jesse Neal matches, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship defense, Canadian Heavyweight Championship defense on the Andre Corbeil YouTube channel. So go over there and subscribe, fans. And if you're not subscribed to One Wrestling Video right here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well. You can follow me at Andre_Corbeil. You can check out Wrestling News Talk, the Facebook fan page. Follow Big Ray on Twitter at Big Ray Show. Myself at Andre_Corbeil, like I said. Bill Schuyler at You Got the Show. Bill Apter at Apter One Wrestling. Billy Ray Valentine at Billy Ray Hustle. And all of us at One Wrestling. And go check out OneWrestling.com. And thanks for tuning in right here on YouTube at One Wrestling Video. My name's Andre Corbeil. Good Impact Wrestling all around. I enjoyed it. I really like where some of these storylines are going. I like the Knockouts Division storyline. Waiting for a little bit more of the X Division implementation that TNA has indeed promised multiple times that is coming as more focus goes towards the TNA X Division. And I'm happy, wrestling fans. Were you happy with this episode coming? This live episode from Orlando, Florida? Comment below. We're all in this for one thing, wrestling. Thanks for tuning in, wrestling fans. Take care.
Andre Corbeil here on OneWrestling.com.
Hey everybody, this is Davey Boy Smith Jr. You're watching OneWrestling.com with Andre Corbeil. I see you at the matches.
Dog of War, Jesse Neal, and we're with Andre Corbeil, and you're watching OneWrestling.com. We'll see you at the matches.
We're all in this for one thing, the wrestling. See you at the matches.
And let's point at the camera like Bill Apter does and say, we'll see you at the matches.
We'll see you at the matches.
I'm sorry, guys.